Sami Zayn betrays Jey Uso, the best and worst of WWE Raw. Seth Rollins suffers an unfortunate injury on Raw. Disappointing update on Goldberg's WWE future. Liv Morgan to get former WWE World Heavyweight Champion suspended. LA Knight asks Lilian Garcia to announce his name properly after Raw. A Judgment Day member ordered to betray Dominik Mysterio. AJ Styles breaks silence on the WWE and Triple H's controversy. The WWE wasted an opening segment with the Usos. Let's dive right in. The best and worst of WWE Raw. The latest episode of Raw served as the go-home show before the Crown Jewel 2024 Premium Live event. WWE made a big deal of showing the belt and its case enter the building, but Cody Rhodes and Gunther did not do anything on the show. The Bloodline saga continued as Sami Zayn encountered the Usos backstage following an in-ring meeting between the twin brothers. The interactions did not go as everyone had hoped. Seth Rollins met Bronson Reed in the parking lot for another destructive fight. While he initially stood his ground, the 38-year-old was put through some tables after a Death Valley driver from the Australian Star. Will the Visionary make it to Crown Jewel 2024? With the Saudi Arabia show on the horizon, some things hit the mark while others did not. Here are the best and worst of the go-home show of Raw before Crown Jewel 2024. Number 1. Best. The Miz never changes his stripes. The backstage segments on Raw are often just as good or better than the in-ring action. This week featured The Miz trying to reconcile with R-Truth after betraying him recently. Truth was talking with the Alpha Academy and was in his usual magnificent form. He referenced that the group looked better without that ugly little guy, and he also called Pete Dunne Butch when he walked by him. Truth initially accepted The Miz's apology, but then decked him after. It shows that the A-lister is at his best as a vicious heel who will do anything to save his tail. Truth is not as naive or dumb as he is usually portrayed. Number 2. Worst. Only one women's match on Raw. Monday Night Raw shifting to 2 hours has hurt a lot of superstars. After traditionally booking at least 2 or even 3 matches for the women, this week's show featured one bout for the female stars of the Red brand. The match pitted Ivy Nile against Zelina Vega, which essentially turned into another round in the Latino World Order versus the American Maid feud. Nile picked up the win after interference. Seeing Vega featured is nice since she is one of the more underrated talents in the division. The problem was that Lyra Valkyria, Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, Natalya, and others such as the Unholy Union disappeared over the last few weeks. The match was also average on the heels of 2 good showings at NXT Halloween Havoc 2024. Number 3. Best and worst. Damian Priest punishes the Judgment Day. Dominik Mysterio's mystery former world champion opponent was none other than Damian Priest. Dirty Dom only picked up the tainted win after copious amounts of interference from the Judgment Day. Priest knew to expect outside distractions, but still fell victim to the dreaded roll-up finish. The match should have been a dominant squash for the Archer of Infamy, but he got a measure of revenge following the defeat. The 42-year-old star repeatedly blasted JD McDonough, Carlito, and Dominik with chair shots and chokeslams. Finn Balor was conspicuous by his absence, especially since he wanted another match with his former tag team partner. Number 4. Best. Sami Zayn usually makes sense. Sami Zayn implored Jey Uso to stay out of the bloodline drama since he had worked his tail off to stand on his own. The Yeetmaster claimed that Solo Sikoa was a bigger threat than Roman Reigns and shrugged off Zayn's words. He also said that the underdog from the underground would not get it because he was not family. Zayn had to work the hardest of all to prove his worth to the bloodline during his time with the faction. Jay's head is all over the place, but Sami has been the one person who always told him the truth no matter what. A later segment showed Zayn talking with Sikoa in an SUV. The Usos quickly concluded he was a traitor, even though he tried to tell Jay to stand on his own. It is WWE's logic with how it books some of its top faces. Number 5. Worst. Repetitive matches for the Celtic Warrior. Sheamus battled Ludwig Kaiser in what seems like a feud that will never end. Outside of a match with Braun Breaker, the Celtic Warrior has battled only 3 stars since July: Pete Dunne, Bronson Reed, and Kaiser. The latest showdown on Raw was the 4th meeting between Kaiser and Sheamus since the summer. The action portion of the match was fine, but the need to book another fight between the same opponents screams of a lack of ideas. Sheamus might finally be headed for another match with Breaker over the Intercontinental Championship. He still could battle someone like Chad Gable and the American Maid or the Final Testament instead of the same opponent. Number 6. Best and worst. Good action still prolongs a Judgment Day defense. WWE's booking of the World Tag Team Championship has been among the worst in recent memory. The Awesome Truth won the titles at WrestleMania 40, but lost the belts to Finn Balor and JD McDonough. The Irish Stars defended those titles once since winning them in June 2024. To remedy that fact, Raw General Manager Adam Pearce booked a tournament to determine the next challengers for the titles. Featuring all of Raw's teams is a good way to get them on screen. However, The tournament only prolongs the next defense from the Judgment Day. The War Raiders earned a title opportunity, but could have been part of a triple threat tag team match for the titles. The same angles could have been folded into that contest. Seth Rollins suffers an unfortunate injury on Raw. Seth Rollins was set for a massive WWE Crown Jewel match, but now there appear to be doubts after a breaking medical update on Raw. The star was left hurt, and now there's an update. Seth was in the ring on Raw to address his issues with Bronson Reed when the latter interrupted him. After being interrupted, he headed to the back, and the two stars started to brawl in the parking lot. During the brawl, Seth Rollins got the better of it and hit Bronson Reed with a sudden stomp onto the hood of a car. It appeared he had done what was needed to get the advantage heading into Crown Jewel, but it was not. Reed suddenly got up, threw away those checking on him, and attacked Rollins again. The two ended up on the back of a truck, with Bronson then hitting Seth with the huge driver off the truck onto a platform, with both of them going through. Seth Rollins was left hurt, though, and now it appears that he was hospitalized. An update by the commentators let fans know that Rollins was injured. What we can tell you right now is that he has been sent to a medical facility in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Rollins has been taken to a medical center to be evaluated, so the exact nature of his injury is not known at this time. WWE will provide further updates. Disappointing update on Goldberg's WWE future. A recent report has shed light on a former champion not being factored into the plans for an upcoming WWE Premium Live event. If rumors are to be believed, Goldberg is not slated to appear at Crown Jewel 2024. A few weeks back at WWE Bad Blood 2024, Goldberg's interaction with World Heavyweight Champion Gunther raised hopes for a potential encounter in the future. Though the former Universal Champion hasn't wrestled since Elimination Chamber 2022, there's no doubt a performer of the Ring General's stature could help him shed all the ring rust and deliver a memorable match. However, a recent report by PW Insider suggested that fans must not get their hopes up about seeing Goldberg at Crown Jewel 2024. While this doesn't mean a match between them might never take place, those looking forward to seeing the duo come face-to-face at the PLE must keep their expectations in check. The Ring General is set to have a champion versus champion match at Crown Jewel 2024, where he goes to war with undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. The winner would become the inaugural Crown Jewel champion. On a recent Sportskeeda's Smack Talk episode, Bill Apter discussed the possibility of Goldberg making an unannounced appearance at Crown Jewel 2024. The veteran explained that the WWE Hall of Famer could show up at the right time and cost Gunther his match to set up a dream showdown with him down the line. He added that if Goldberg is not available, Triple H and the creative team could pull off the same angle, with Kevin Owens costing Cody Rhodes the match. The Goldberg scenario with Gunther was so in Atlanta several weeks ago. You've got Gunther versus Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel. What a great way to have Gunther lose. The referee takes a bump and Goldberg comes in and spears Gunther. Cody, 1, 2, 3. Then you get the Gunther-Goldberg slight feud to happen maybe, or my other thing is, if it happens the other way, then Kevin Owens screws Cody. But I think that's how they bring Goldberg back. He's going to do something at Crown Jewel, Apter noted. Whether Goldberg shows up or not, fans can be assured that Gunther and Cody Rhodes will have a stellar match that could have the Riyadh crowd on their feet. Liv Morgan to get former WWE World Heavyweight Champion suspended. Liv Morgan was in pain after the recent episode of Raw, as Dominik Mysterio was brutally beaten down by Damian Priest. The Archer of Infamy emerged as Dominik's opponent tonight, but despite being a former world champion, Priest failed to win. Even the women's world champion couldn't stop the former Judgment Day member from attacking Dominik after the match. Following this incident, Liv Morgan might attempt to get Damian Priest suspended for his actions against Dominik Mysterio. In a potential scenario, the women's world champion could approach Adam Pearce. During their conversation, she might demand clarification from the Raw general manager on how Priest was allowed to assault his opponent even after the match had ended. Liv Morgan could use this argument to advocate for Priest's suspension. Given the validity of her concerns, Adam Pearce might decide to suspend Damian Priest. Another possible reason for this decision would be to temporarily keep Priest off television, creating a logical break in his storyline. Since being ousted from the Judgment Day, the 42-year-old star hasn't been involved in any major storylines and has remained loosely connected to the villainous faction. This angle would allow him some time away from the ring, paving the way for a fresh storyline when he eventually returns to the Stamford-based promotion. This break would also give the creative team time to develop new ideas and directions for Priest. If the former Judgment Day member gets suspended, it's possible WWE might plan his return for a special Saturday night event. For those unaware, this event will return to the Stamford-based promotion after a long time. The show will air live on NBC and Peacock on December 14, 2024, from the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum on Long Island, New York. According to reports, Damian Priest is expected to clash with Gunther at this event. However, the card has yet to be officially announced. If Liv Morgan approaches Adam Pearce to suspend Priest, it's likely his return could happen in December. A return before is also possible, but only if WWE has concrete plans to involve him in a new storyline. Fans will have to wait until next week's Raw to see if Liv Morgan takes action, potentially prompting the authority figure to impose consequences on Priest for his assault on Dominik Mysterio. LA Knight asks Lilian Garcia to announce his name properly after Raw. A top WWE superstar had a message for ring announcer Lilian Garcia after the latest edition of Raw went off the air. The star in question, LA Knight, wanted Garcia to announce his name properly during his entrance. After the latest episode of Raw went off the air, Knight took on Santos Escobar in a dark match. The megastar picked up a win over the 40-year-old star in the end to send fans home happy. LA Knight also had an amusing exchange with Lilian Garcia. The 41-year-old star told her that she did a great job announcing his name during his entrance, but wanted her to pause between the letters L and A while taking his name. Knight then hugged Lilian in a wholesome visual. Knight is all set for a huge match at the WWE Crown Jewel 2024 Premium Live event in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. The megastar will defend his United States Championship in a triple threat match against Carmelo Hayes and Andrade at the mega event. Fans are aware that Knight defeated Logan Paul at SummerSlam 2024 to win the United States Championship. He has been doing an incredible job as the champion since his big win over the Maverick. A Judgment Day member ordered to betray Dominik Mysterio. A Judgment Day member is furious with how things happened for Dominik Mysterio on WWE Raw after the star pinned Damian Priest. He was ready for the star to be betrayed. The Judgment Day has made a reputation for helping the members win all their matches by any means necessary. When Dominik Mysterio was out in the ring facing Damian Priest, though, Finn Balor was ready to break tradition and abandon the star, essentially betraying him. Mysterio had one of the biggest matches of his life as he faced Priest for a shot at Gunther's World Heavyweight Championship. When Mysterio was out there, McDonough came out to help, and the distraction allowed Dominik to roll up Priest and get the win. He will now be getting the world title shot. Now, it turns out that Finn Balor had asked JD McDonough to not help Dominik Mysterio. It was revealed during a backstage segment on Raw Talk that McDonough had ignored Balor's instruction to betray Dominik and went out. Balor has now instructed McDonough to not help Dominik going forward, indicating the world title match against Gunther, and to instead focus only on the tag title picture. I thought we all agreed that we are staying back here. Look, our focus needs to be on the tag team championships, so in the future, don't do anything like that again without talking to me. It remains to be seen what happens when Mysterio faces Gunther. Balor pretended that he was only thinking of the tag team title when Liv Morgan confronted him. The entire scenario is yet to play out for the Judgment Day. AJ Styles breaks silence on the WWE and Triple H's controversy. AJ Styles has broken his silence after the controversy surrounding WWE and Triple H and a Hall of Fame induction. He has also provided an update after his injury. It was reported earlier that TNA wanted to induct Styles into the Hall of Fame recently, but WWE decided against it. As a result, Styles was not inducted during the recent ceremony. This resulted in Triple H getting blamed by fans, as well as WWE as a whole, with fans calling them out, saying that Styles deserved to go into the TNA Hall of Fame given his immense career in the promotion. The star was one of the original stars of the company, and did a lot to not only put the promotion on the map, but become one of the best wrestlers in the world. The veteran is currently out with an injury. Now, AJ Styles has spoken up about the decision to not be a part of the TNA Hall of Fame. He responded to one of the fans blaming the game and said that it was Styles himself who made the decision to not go into the Hall of Fame yet, not WWE. The star also called himself an active wrestler, providing a status update following his Liz Frank injury. "I'm still an active wrestler, I hope. I made the decision not to go into the TNA HOF, not WWE. I appreciate TNA, but I don't want to go into any HOF as long as I'm still active. My choice," he said. AJ Styles will likely be inducted into the Hall of Fame in the future, even if it doesn't happen now. During his return to the ring and match against Carmelo Hayes, Styles landed badly and hurt his leg. It was later revealed to be a Liz Frank injury. The treatment can take 6 to 8 weeks of rest with a cast without surgery, but if surgery is needed, then it can take up to 5 months. At this time, it's not certain when Styles will be able to return, even though he has called himself an active wrestler. The WWE wasted an opening segment with the Usos. Former WWE head writer Vince Russo recently discussed the opening segment of Monday Night Raw, during which the Usos cleared the house against the Bloodline. Jimmy and Jey Uso were in the ring when the faction attacked them. The Usos kicked off the show this week, trying to bury their differences. Jey and Jimmy were trying to fix their issues when the Bloodline attacked them. The trio of Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu blindsided the twins, but this plan backfired as the Usos repelled their sneak attack. This week on Legion of Raw, Russo felt the segment took all the heat away from the heels. He questioned the need for a blockbuster Survivor Series match when Jimmy and Jey could easily beat up three formidable competitors, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, and Jacob Fatu. We talked about psychology. You're heels because you're cheating. There's more of you than there are of them. What do we get at the beginning of the show? We get two baby faces clearing the ring with three heels. My point was, why do we need a Survivor Series match then, if two of them can take three of them? This week, Jimmy Uso also invited Jey to WWE SmackDown to discuss things with Roman Reigns. He claimed that the original tribal chief would be on the blue brand and hoped all three men could finally get on the same page. The three men are now scheduled to face the Bloodline in a six-man tag team match at Crown Jewel. It will be interesting to see who comes out on top in this huge encounter. Sami Zayn betrays Jey Uso. Jey Uso was taken aback when he and his brother Jimmy Uso spotted Sami Zayn secretly interacting with Solo Sikoa on WWE Raw. They had an extensive conversation about the Bloodline backstage, so this could potentially be seen as a betrayal by the Canadian star. Sami Zayn was a member of the original Bloodline when Roman Reigns ran it, but he was eventually kicked out of the group after turning on the OTC. He and the Yeet Master got on good terms after the latter turned babyface. On this week's WWE Raw, Sami Zayn spoke to Jey backstage about his sudden reunion with his twin brother. He also wanted to know whether the latter would go to SmackDown to talk with Roman Reigns. Jey Uso mentioned that Solo Sikoa was worse than the OTC, but Zayn argued that the Bloodline leader wasn't the one who manipulated him for years and made him jump through hoops to prove his worth. Sami clarified that he wasn't on Solo Sikoa's side. However, something unexpected happened during the show. Jimmy Uso was backstage looking for Sami Zayn so he could speak with him, but he caught the latter speaking to Sikoa in the parking lot. Jey Uso also came in and saw it, and he looked disappointed. Jimmy then told his brother that family was all they had. It's unclear what Sami and Solo were talking about, but it doesn't look good for Zayn.